I still can't believe that song got on the radio in 1980. Not only for the bit about the jeans, but for the fact that it seemed that the narrator was a lesbian. This was not the sort of stuff one heard as part of a pop song on AM radio back then. Then again, some radio stations did refuse to play it. Those that did got complaints. Still, it remains Rough Trade's signature song. In just a few seconds, it's a discussion of the practices of sampling. And it's a tricky one.
More of the secret history of rock coming up. Back to the secret history of rock with Alan Cross.
There's a school of thought in art that involves deconstructing or destroying previous creations and building something new out of the rubble. And Picasso allegedly once said, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal." What he meant, if he did say this, and there is some doubt, was that the greats observed and then learned and then assimilated inspiration from a wide variety of sources. He wasn't encouraging plagiarism or outright theft. He was encouraging others to take the ordinary or the familiar to new heights. That's what musicians who practice the art of sampling try to do. They take a bit or bits from previously recorded material and mold it and shape it and otherwise repurpose it so that it becomes part of an entirely new creation, one the author or authors might not even recognize. A sample involves excising a piece of an old song and uses it in the creation of a new one. There's no limit on how short it can be. Some samples can be measured in fractions of a second, and a sample can be as long as, really as long as you can get away with. Once isolated, a sample can be used as is, or you can use any number of computer programs to twist it into some kind of new shape. In other words, you're recycling music. The modern concept of sampling goes back to at least the 1920s, when magnetic recording tape became the standard in the 1950s, which allowed for very careful editing. There were many experiments with dropping previously recorded sounds and clips into new recordings. By the time the Beatles got to the White Album, people were cutting up tape and reassembling it into all kinds of weird shapes and sound collages.
Number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9, number 9,
When rap and hip-hop were born on the streets of the Bronx in the 1970s, new songs were created by co-opting beats and bass lines from other people's records. All you needed was a couple of turntables, a mixer, and a pair of very fast hands.
You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I'd like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, and the purple, and yellow. But first, I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop.
Sampling went electronic in the 1980s, thanks to new devices like a giant keyboard contraption called a Fairlight. Then came smaller synthesizers with more memory and more power. By the middle 80s, companies were making machines with sampling in mind. They made it possible to surgically extract pieces of music for transplant into new songs. Here's an example. This 1985 song from Big Audio Dynamite is called E=MC². Most music historians consider this track to be the first worldwide hit to include precision samples.